of Washington Street Mission begins in 1909, when famed evangelist Billy Sunday came to Springfield for a series of meetings. It was out of these sermons and meetings that people began to realize the need to address the increasing number of children and adults living in poverty in Springfield. Shortly thereafter, a group of businessmen began meeting and casting a vision for such a ministry. And on January 10, 1910, their ministry, Washington Street Mission, opened its doors.
I need you, Jesus, my rescue. Where else can I go? There's no other name by which I am saved. Capture me with grace, I will follow you.
Throughout its 100 years of ministry, Washington Street Mission has continually adapted to the needs of the people it serves. In the early years, this meant more residential ministry, including housing immigrant families and displaced coal miners. The mission held nightly worship services and Bible classes. Staff and volunteers tutored students, taught English to immigrants, visited prisoners, and made clothing and bedding for children. During the 1920s, the mission ran Washington Hall, a home for troubled teenage girls. When the economy collapsed in the late 1920s and 30s, the mission helped men find jobs and gave food and clothing to families. In addition, Washington Street Mission operated a church camp throughout the 30s, an escape for children during the toughest parts of the Depression. Tom Kay, grandson of the mission's founder, Mr. Bob Brown, has served on the mission's board of directors for the last 30 years. Listen as Tom shares some of his memories of Camp Woodruff.
I think some of my earliest recollections have to do with the development of a summer camp program. Must have been about 1940. It was before the war got going at that time, and had to cease after just a few years because of the war. But the underprivileged children of the underprivileged children of Springfield, they had an opportunity to spend a week at Camp Woodruff, about 5 miles out of town to the east. I'm not familiar with locations today to say just where that fits into the modern geography of Springfield. But it was just a short drive out to this area, wooded area, that brought the children away from the city for a short while, from usually Monday morning until Saturday morning. Those were the days the mission operated, and brought the children back for the weekend. Of course, that's when the Millers had responsibilities with the services at the mission, particularly after Mr. Brown had deceased. We find those activities important because it was responsible for some people in really putting the Word of God into their hearts. In other ways, the mission accomplished many important things for the people of Springfield. I just recently had a conversation with 2 or 3 women that were a part of the mission story a little later on, and they were recounting how their coming to the mission every Sunday afternoon was so important, and how their parents had urged them to do this since they did not have or be involved with the local church. They came to the mission Sunday school on Sunday afternoons. And I visited the family during those times as well, and recall sitting in on some of those Sunday school sessions. Quite different than the ones I was used to up in my hometown, but it was interesting how at that time so many people were coming together, and so many young people, to be taught the Bible and to learn about the thinking of the Christian people and the way in which they lived their lives. This was very significant for them.
While some of the ministries of earlier years have since passed, like Camp Woodruff and Washington Hall, the mission continues to do some of the same things it always has: teach children about Jesus, provide a safe place for the broken and hurting, and offer clothing and food to anyone who comes in the door. In recent years, the mission has expanded its morning hours and services, now offering laundry and showers to the homeless. The mission also runs a transition house, as explained by the men's ministry director, Danny Yoakum.
My name's Danny Yoakum. I work for the Washington Street Mission. I oversee the transitional house. The house is located on 1116 North 5th. It's been there about 8 years. And we started in October of '02, 7 years I guess, 7.5 years. In this time we've probably had a couple hundred, at least, guys come and go through. We have the ability to put 5 guys and myself. I'm there 24/7. I work and live there. We've learned a long time ago that just becoming friends with the guys that come off the street and out of prison, and that is the most important part. It's just trying to build relationships, with friendships with them. When I'm going up the stairs at night and everybody's home and everybody's in bed and the place is quiet and I hear the creak of the stairs as I'm going up, and it's just kind of a good feeling to know everybody's home and in bed, and that they're there. It's just that being able to provide a home for these guys, a stable, structured home.
Washington Street Mission began in 1910 as a community effort. Today, the story is still the same. To all of our generous volunteers and supporters throughout the years, thank you. This day and this ministry, now 100 years strong, would not be possible without you. Thank you so much. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless Washington Street Mission.